What are you doing? This is behind the scenes.
Don Robbie, how was your weekend?
Weekend was good. Looking at a bunch of losers.
Oh, what?
Coming from you.
Yes, we
just lost to Aston.
I don't care. If you're in a bad mood, you're going to get even worse. That's why I don't give it first, because when people give it to me, they get blown up in football terms. That's why I don't on my mouth first.
I'm not going in the gantry today.
Abby, would you like to put on the sausage outfit?
Gantry!
He's the most arrogant guy when he's winning. Give it all this. The top is just us. And look now, bro.
He talks a big game about football, so let's see if he can play the football yet.
They're supposed to be joggers, bro. These are Megans, bro.
Locked away, man.
He should have had the shingles today. Our team's got the shingles, bro. That's why they couldn't
It's
get me
not
out.
funny. Let me out.
Oh, shit.
Good win, lad.
Abby, here's the hot dog, everyone.
Don't try and get at Arsenal fans. I'm saying that Arsenal are going to win the quadruple. That's what I'm saying.
I would only start thinking about it if we don't get a result against Wolves. Well, we're here.
You're gonna. What are you doing? This is behind the scenes.
Don Robbie, how was your weekend?
Weekend was good. Looking at a bunch of losers.
Oh, what?
Coming from you. Yes, we just lost to Aston.
I don't care. If you're in a bad mood, you're going to get even worse. That's why I don't give it first, because when people give it to me, they get blown up in football terms. That's why I don't on my mouth first.
I'm not going in the gantry today.
Abby, would you like to put on the sausage outfit?
Gantry!
He's the most arrogant guy when he's winning. Give it all this. The top is just us. And look now, bro.
He talks a big game about football, so let's see if he can play the football yet.
They're supposed to be joggers, bro. These are Megans, bro.
Locked away, man.
He should have had the shingles today. Our team's got the shingles, bro. That's why they couldn't get
It's
me
not
out.
funny. Let me out.
Oh, shit.
Good win, lad.
Abby, here's the hot dog, everyone.
Don't try and get at Arsenal fans. I'm saying that Arsenal are going to win the quadruple. That's what I'm saying.
I would only start thinking about it if we don't get a result against Wolves. Well, we're here.
You're gonna walk in and you have to dodge the ball, my man.
Nobody else gets this here.
Soccer Saturdays are going to hit different in the EFL, bro. 'Cause that's where Spurs are heading, to the English Football League.
I'll buy you lot a new one when you get someone to replace me on Beth's enemy.
Walk out with the stick. Walk out with the stick. I'm bomb back out. Right.
Let's go.
What do you do with yours? I do unlimited football content.
Well, I do unlimited bragging.
Well, I do unlimited swiping right.
Well, I do unlimited doom scrolling.
Well, I do unlimited sliding into the DMs.
Well, I do watching TikTok on the bus without headphones unlimited.
Oh, God.
Yes, people, you heard it there. We teamed up with Rocket Mobile to make the mobile phone plan for football fans in the UK for just £16 a month, unlimited calls, text, data, and 20 gigs to use when you're abroad in select countries in the EU, plus perks, content, and other prizes as soon as you make that switch. So either scan the QR code on the bottom right-hand side of your screen if you're watching on Twitter, Samsung TV, or Facebook. But if you're watching on YouTube, click the link either in the description or in the live chat at the end of the show to learn more about this fantastic deal. And also, happy Thursday to those in England, especially maybe those in London. It's been sunny. It's been a lovely few days, hasn't it, Alex?
Well, I've been in Liverpool this morning, mate, and it was extremely beautiful as I was walking down Bowl Street to the station to get down to London. So it isn't just the capital, the sun up north as well, mate.
Yeah, everywhere. And Laurie, how have you been enjoying the sun?
Yeah, not too bad. Always welcome the sun, you know me. Yeah.
But I feel
London's always a much better place when the sun is out.
I think the world is.
Yeah, that's true.
I feel like I'm just a happier person as well.
Oh, for sure.
As soon as the sun comes out, it just life is just a bit better,
tonight
isn't it?
in the sun, cheeky little pint after maybe.
Is it going to be a
Can't
Guinness
really
by
beat
any
it.
chance?
Of course.
After your little lad Bible, that was. Have you seen his little lad Bible skit with Guinness?
Over 1 million views, mate.
It's got 1 million views.
Yeah, on Lab Bible, yeah.
Damn.
It was just like a little silly idea I had, and to be fair, Haas executed it perfectly. Happens sometimes. I do have good ideas sometimes.
It made me chuckle because I'm not the world's biggest Guinness guy, but it did make me chuckle.
Oh, mate, Guinness is the best.
I've never...
more of an IPA man myself.
Oh, get out of here, mate.
I know.
Crouch End for you.
Loud and proud. But someone who may not be having the world's best time at the moment is Clinton. Because I was on the watch along last night with him for the Newcastle game.
Hold that, Clinton.
And Newcastle got pumped.
Yeah.
They got
what's
destroyed.
funny? When I saw the 7-2, because I knew they were going to lose, I thought that was like the aggregate score. You know what I mean?
Which
only to find out.
Which is still 4-0
Which is still,
down.
yeah. But then to find out.
8-3 on aggregate. It was 4 goals in the second half.
Yeah.
This is what I found so hilarious about the live stream last night was Clinton came and did live at 5 with me. It was the two of us for live at 5. And then we were meant to go live at 7:30 for the the Champions League watch along, but because the game was 3-2 to Barcelona, Haas was like, we may as well go, because the two of us were in the studio, like, go live now. We went live and they immediately conceded 4 goals. So I've never seen a man go from, we can get something here, second half, Camp Nou, Elanga's finally arrived, to just get me out of here. He basically went, can we end the stream? And I was like, no. We're not ending the stream, we're going to stay here.
I see Matty Renton, attempting to speak Spanish in the streets of Barcelona. It's actually Catalan, their local tongue, Matty. But yeah, he'll have to hold. If they want to be big boys, we have to treat them like big boys when they lose. If you want to be the Champions League boys,
if you want to play the game, you've got to play the game.
Then
you know what's interesting about that as well is that when you get
boys.
smoked in the second leg, it's always a lot worse.
Yeah,
because Spurs got smoked in the first leg. But then come the second leg, it was already done.
They've come back with also some sort of sense of pride as well.
But when you get done like that in the second leg, it just leaves a really bad taste.
Yeah.
Hold that though, man. And they were.
I don't disagree. Shocking. But I think there are. I mean, we were talking about it with Clinton last night. He said to us when we were watching the stream, he was like, boys, I want to know your thoughts on where do Newcastle go from here? Because obviously losing in that manner, obviously that's not great for a club that's trying to kind of make the jump to the next step, to fighting for the Champions League spots, fighting in the knockout stage of these competitions. Because Newcastle this year, having come third last season, winning their first cup in 70 plus years, and really pushing on in the summer to try and sign some new players, etc. This season they are mid-table, fighting for a hopeful spot in the Conference League, really hoping that the coefficient stuff means that England get a 5th Champions League spot, which then leaves Conference League open for 7th. That's what they're fighting for now this season.
I tell you, it's not a good result for Eddie Howe.
Because I think questions have got to be asked about Eddie Howe, and also he may be asking questions himself as well, because they've been through this fantastic cycle under Howe where he's brought, obviously the new ownership came in, he was brought in to steady the ship a bit, and then they were thinking, right, once the ship is steady we'll get a new manager in, but he's then exceeded I would say all expectations from what everyone thought he would do when he first joined Newcastle. He's obviously won the trophies, etc. But now he might be looking at going, do I want to go through another rebuild at the same club? Because there's
the option might not be in his hands, unfortunately for him.
But he may feel at the end of the season, he may go, I want to take a break. I want to take a step back. I want to try something new. I want to try something else.
I think he'll have a keen eye to see how Tuchel does at the World Cup. Eddie Howe will at some point inevitably become the England manager. It's just a matter of time. So if it's England go out of the group stage or quarter final, I would assume that his phone would be getting a phone call, and then you've got a decision to make. Should you not abandon the ship, because you look at what he's achieved in the project. Maybe he was initially seen as a stopgap, but he's definitely got his feet under the table. However, a result like the Sunderland defeat earlier on in the season, a result like that Newcastle defeat, there's been some big wins for clubs at St James's Park this season. And when you lose at home as a Newcastle manager, it can get toxic really quickly there. And I think he's done such a good job that it might get to the point, if you lose to Sunderland at home on Saturday or Sunday at midday, that's going to heap even more pressure on you. But if that happens, plus they don't finish in Europe, which obviously they doubt they will, then he might say to himself at the end of the season, I've taken this team as far as I can go.
Yeah, because one of the big reasons I want to talk about this is because Ben Jacobs today has been talking about Newcastle and their future. And what he's basically come out with and said is that he says that both Sandro Tonali and Bruno Guimaraes' agents and their camps are pretty much this is his words, fighting against each other to leave Newcastle. Because obviously, because it came out obviously right in the January window that it was the links between Arsenal and Tonali Arsenal denied that, but I think it may have been a bit overblown. But and then there's also with Guimaraes recently, it's come out saying that United have been. So Jason Wilcox, our director of football, has spoken to his camp. Guimaraes has also been linked to Real Madrid. He's been linked to Liverpool as well. Guimaraes has in the last few seasons. Doyle yesterday was basically saying if he becomes available, spend whatever on bringing him in, which is and the quoted fee is around 70, but obviously Newcastle, you see how that works, especially with the fractured relationship you have with Newcastle at the moment.
I don't think that happens at all.
But the point of the news was that effectively both camps and both players reportedly know that only one of them will be willingly sold by Newcastle in the summer. So they're effectively starting a bit of a race and a fight to be that one that actually leaves before the other one does, which is a horrible situation for Newcastle and Eddie Howe to be in. And a situation that Eddie Howe might look at and go, I just don't want to be a part of this, having gone through the Isak stuff last season.
I don't think the decision will be down to him ultimately.
No, but he does have the right to assess if he wants to stay at Newcastle.
Which manager do you know that just walks out like that? They don't do that. Managers do not leave of their own volition.
Well, they'd have to
they
sack
get
him.
Sacked. Yeah,
he'd have to.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Sacked.
He won't leave
unless you're
of his own
Klopp
volition.
and you just decide I'm gonna get off and retire. Then fair enough. But you're right, and that is a money thing as well.
Yeah.
Like, we can all pretend that the valiant kind of honourable thing to do would be, oh, I'm walking away, keep the money.
They never do that.
No way, that doesn't happen. How long has he got in his contract, Eddie Howe?
Eddie Howe, let me check.
That would be because if it's less than 2 years.
Eddie Howe.
Less than 2 years, then I think they might sack him.
I think it's looking.
I'm trying to find it.
Like I said, that Sunderland game, they haven't had that fixture for how many years? Now it's at St James's Park. If you do not win that game,
But look at the corresponding game. Remember earlier they got
Voltmar scored an own goal.
rained on. But remember, even Eddie Howe himself said that the performance
they
they
were
put out that
shocking.
day was unacceptable.
It was.
Remember?
Yeah, it was shocking.
So
it was absolutely abysmal performance. But I don't think Liverpool should throw the checkbook at Bruno. I like him as a player. I like Tonali as a player as well. But for our midfield, I think McAllister could potentially leave in the summer. Gravenberch and Szoboszlai, I'd hope that they'd be our, two starting.
ain't going nowhere.
Not yet, anyway. For a few more years, I think.
I
he's at
actually
Liverpool.
cannot find when his contract expires because
When does it?
All
end,
the
people
news
in the
says
chat?
summer of 2024, but obviously that was 2 years ago, and I can't find another contract since then. But if anyone in the comment section, any Newcastle fans know when his contract expires, do let us know.
Peter
I'm
in the
trying my
chat
best.
says, "Who invited Liverpool? No one going to join you in the Europa." Well, I'll let you know that in 2023, when we were in the Europa, we signed McAllister, Szoboszlai, Gravenberch. So there you go. And who's to say we might even win the Champions League, mate? Who do you support? Peter.
Emphasis on the might there, by the way.
Yeah.
Very much on the might. Look, PSG.
But
in the next
yeah,
round.
I'm pretty sure Alex agrees with me. That decision, it will not be taken by the manager. It will be taken by the hierarchy.
Well, ultimately, yes. But just more what I was saying is that Eddie Howe might also consider his future and might approach the board and go, what are your reassurances? Like, no, but he's within his rights to do that.
Yeah,
if
but,
he was to go,
Dylan,
what is
you
your
tell me
plan this
one
summer?
situation where that's happened, where a manager said, you know what, I'm not quite up to it, I'm going to leave. They don't do that.
Well, I mean,
And
Klopp
why
did,
would
but
they?
I know that's a different story.
Why would they? Because unless you're Klopp, who's like won everything in the game.
Look, more what I mean is that Eddie Howe might sit there himself, because he is, like, as a human being, allowed to think about what he wants next. He could sit there himself and go, I want to talk to the board, especially if they then do let's say they do, like, club captain Bruno Guimaraes leaves or Tonali leaves, or because Voltemar is also being already linked with a move away as well, because he's not playing as a striker. He's being used as a backup number 8. There is a situation where, which I know is Eddie Howe's, I say, quote-unquote fault, but, like, obviously still being linked with a move away.
Decision.
Eddie Howe could sit there and go, I feel like I really need to talk to the board this summer about the direction that they're going in, because last summer Newcastle missed out on basically all of their first choice targets. They missed out on pretty much all of them. So if that was to happen again next summer, Eddie Howe is well within his rights to go, I want to talk to the board about where we realistically think
I'm
he
sure
can
he'll talk
go.
to the board about his situation.
Because if they were to say, oh, we're thinking, bring in some young talents again, crack on, bring in another couple of Alexander Isaks, he might sit there and go, I really don't want to have to go through that all over again. I want to try and win again now. I want to try and get into Champions League now.
Sounds very honourable, but at the end of the day, he won't do that because he will forfeit a great deal of money financially.
Also, do you
and
remember
why
when
would he
Ruben
do that?
said it? He said, Ruben Amorim, I'll just don't forget it. I'll just walk away. No, still got
but he was an absolute waffle job, wasn't it? Is what we found out.
That's what we're saying. That's
Just
when
doesn't
people say
have-
that it is waffle.
Or what they do is that they engineer their own way out. So, for example, that's what Nuno did at Forest. As soon as he realised that the game was up with the board, he just started coming out with all these statements, which made his position untenable.
That could be what Eddie Howe decides to do. Eddie Howe, he may decide in the summer to do an interview like that. He may decide towards the end of the season, say, I'll think about it, blah, 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 which then obviously almost like that often triggers.
But if results
the first
carry
steps
on, he'll
into
end up just
being
getting sacked anyway.
I think he really could. If they don't get any sort of European football this season, because they are, what was it, ninth in the league table? Ninth in the league table. They're 3 points off seventh, and seventh looks realistically like to be Conference League. But even then, that is, if you said to Newcastle fans at the start of the season, you're going to barely finish seventh, get knocked out the Champions League abysmally by Barcelona, are you going to take that and be happy with that? Everyone at Newcastle, Eddie Howe, all the fans will have all said no. And go, and all your best players are being linked with moves to other clubs in the Premier League or Real Madrid, etc.
It's the food chain. It's us and Real Madrid.
It is the food chain.
There is a food chain in this. That's why Isak left you to join Liverpool. This is why Katike chose to go to, because they're a better, bigger club.
With more
ambition. There is a food chain. So I get you get attached to these players and they get you to a certain point. But if you can't keep that up for top players, they will just leave.
And why would this stay? Let's be honest. I've been on this forum before and I've spoken about players. They're ruthlessly ambitious. They want to win stuff. And why wouldn't they? You only get one career.
Yeah.
So if it's not working out, I mean, some of us fans sometimes, not so much me because I'm older now and I've been through all these things and I can
been there,
see
done that. As
no, but
would
all
say.
this sentiment about he'll stay and this and that. Like, no, he's a footballer. They want to win things and want to earn as much money as possible.
That's why I took such an issue
club,
last night with Clinton, who was banging on about Elliot Anderson being like, I think he'll come home. I think he'll come home.
Yeah.
I was like, no, he won't. Doyle said the same thing. Like, and so did Dean. We were all like, Elliot, you might have the funds, the money. Let's say United put a bid in for Tonali or something, or we sign Tonali, which is very much within the realms of possibility, especially if we were to looking likely to miss out on Elliot Anderson. They might have the 100 million, the 80 million, whatever it is, to sign Elliot Anderson. But what part of Newcastle's project, beyond him being a boyhood Newcastle fan, can convince Elliot Anderson that Newcastle is the best place for him over Manchester City?
You'd have to leave that one in the past if you're Elliot Anderson. I know
You've got to.
Maybe in 10 years when you're 32 you can go back. But in your prime years, again, it is a food chain. As much as I hate them, Manchester United are 10 times the size the club that Newcastle are. And players do think about that. Yes, there's loyalty, boyhood club and local club and all that. But look what happened with Trent. He was about to become the vice. Well, he was the vice captain. If he stayed, he had the opportunity to overtake United, and he got off. And that when it is, I would say personally that only really in our food chain, it's Real Madrid is the team that traditionally come and take our players. So it happens, and you've got to react to it.
Yeah, which is why I feel that Newcastle could be in for another very, very rough summer. Like, you're looking at like multiple players there, even other players that I think they've got a couple of very, very good players who not necessarily the absolute world beat, the other world, like Tonali, for example. I think he's brilliant. Tonali is, but even other players, I'm looking at someone like Harvey Barnes, for example. Like, obviously he's not the same level as them, but like he's a very decent winger. And if they're going down, if Newcastle have had a bad season, he might be someone that they look at who looks at, I'm kind of getting into my mid-20s now, getting in toward the peak of my career. Why can't I make a move somewhere? Not necessarily saying making a move to the Real Madrids or whatever of world football, but another move somewhere else. Go and play in a different country. Like, I think one of the big reasons Trent going to Real Madrid is also to play in another league. I think is really becoming very, very desirable. Like, you're seeing a lot of English players and British players now starting to head towards other leagues as well. Once they've been in the Premier League, once they've done that for 7 or 8 years, 4 or 5 years. Go and play somewhere else.
With
Fine.
Newcastle, I mean, and I don't want this to sound in any way disrespectful. It's definitely not intended to do so, but they're not at that big table. They are just a little above a selling club, if we're being honest. They're a big club in the northeast, one city club. But let's be honest. Say, for example, hypothetically speaking, World Cup coming up this summer. There's a player that blows up, right? Any given player blows up, and you know what's like when World Cup years go. Everyone's after them. So you get a series of options. Newcastle, I'm sorry to say Newcastle fans, is not going to be one of those options. They're going to want to come to a London club, a Liverpool, a Man United, or Madrid, or you know what I'm saying? Newcastle are not eating at that table.
Yeah, players care about their careers. Like, I mean, Stephen makes a great point in the chat. Because Cole Palmer's such a good example of it. Boyhood Manchester United fan, but chose to go to City's academy because City's academy was better. And then when he was about 16 or so, we tried to sign him and he thought, no, City progression is better. And then when he was looking like to leave City, we inquired and he thought, no, I'd rather go to Chelsea because that's a better form of development. And at the time seemed much more stable. Obviously now is a different story with Chelsea, but it's kind of that, I think, is a very, 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 he might end up at United one day. Who knows if we present the best project to him and cover. But like, that's what matters. It's presenting the best project and presenting the best career path for these players, both nationally and internationally, and also club career-wise and money-wise and everything, over than just, oh, but you wore our kit when you were 7. It doesn't hold up at all.
No,
but
it doesn't.
I mean, we can move on to Chelsea if you want, because I say if you want, I know I'm the one that's moving it on, because for example, Laurie, I know you have a few things to say about Chelsea and the way they are acting at the moment. Obviously, they've gone out of the Champions League now. It was a rough going out as well, 3-0 hammering.
Embarrassing.
And Rosinia passing notes to Garnacho at 8-2 down. I look at it and think, what happened between 7-2 and 8-2, where you had a sudden idea that something might happen? But you seem very disappointed about Liam Rosinia.
Yeah, I mean, I said it previously on the show. So just to reiterate, as a person of colour, actually, I don't like that term, person of colour. As a black man, right? I want to see black managers, British managers do well. Now, Liam Rosinia is both of those. He's both black and British. And he's got this job, and I was really happy for him. Obviously, I'm an Arsenal fan. I want Arsenal to win everything. But I want to see him do well, yeah? And it's clear that he does have talent. People in the game speak highly of him. And I'm just a little disappointed with the way that he's conducting himself at the moment, meaning that he's too wordy. He's showing, dare I say, narcissistic traits. I just want him to get on with managing Chelsea to the best of his ability. We all knew he's not going to be there for that long, right? Because it just is what it is. He got the job by virtue.
Yeah, but is this the best of his abilities?
Well, this is what I'm saying. He's allowing all the other stuff to get in the way, and it's disappointing. You know what I'm saying? It's just some of the other stuff is a bit straight up corny, and I'm just thinking, just focus on what you got to do. Do your best while you're there. And, you know what I mean, try and flourish. But
there are some quotes that have just come out from Rosinia on giving notes to Garnacho, 20 minutes old. I know people criticise, I'm not affected, I'm here to win football matches. He very much avoids the question, but doesn't ever give you a direct answer. There does seem to be increasingly a quite a lot of waffle. And then he just said on Team Leaks, he said, we know it's not come from any place of malicious intent to meal the team. We have dealt with the situation. So he's on top of that.
How is leaking team news not malicious?
And then on Enzo, he says, I've had a great conversation with Enzo. He made it really, really clear to me how happy he is at the club. It just seems so fake, but like obviously fake. Like there's ways of saying stuff as managers to, you know, get your point across in a political round the houses kind of way, and it just seems that he's getting.
I said the other day about Rosinia is that he's trying to come across as the nutty professor, but it's more nutty than professor. He hasn't acquired the professor qualification before he started acting nutty, if you know what I mean. It's coming out of all these quotes like he's some kind of black Mourinho or so. Just get on with doing the job to the best of your, because we all know you're not going to be there for that long.
But the press are going to wind him up now. They know what he's like, so they're going to prod him even more.
I saw this whole thing with Ruben Amorim. It was that he came in and he was like the cool, the cool kid on the block, the new interesting guy, flavour of the month from Sporting. And then he was initially quite fun in press conferences, and very, very quickly he started like giving these incredible sound bites, and the English press are just going to go, I want another one of those, please, thank you. And then he comes out with this is the worst Manchester United team in history, when it turns out it actually was probably just more him being one of the worst managers in Manchester United's history, instead of this squad, because the same team, pretty much Michael Carrick's got, is suddenly third in the Premier League and is on top form. And they just keep prodding.
You know what Carrick has done is just an ode to simplicity. He's coming. He's coming.
Oh, yeah.
He's not tried to overcomplicate things. He's simplified things, played the right players in the right positions, put an arm around certain people that have been left out unwarranted. He's brought them back into the fold, and surprise, surprise, starting to play better. And then
as well, even then the players
Brian
Carrick, the players that are currently being left out under Michael Carrick are all speaking like brilliantly about him. They say like Aiden Heaven, for example, he started like 8 games in a row under under Amorim before Amorim got sacked, and I think Heaven was fantastic. He's not started a game under Michael Carrick, but then in interviews and everything on like the United podcast and things, he's basically been going like, I feel like my game's gone up so much in training because Carrick's working really individually with me. He's brought in Johnny Evans as such an well experienced title winning centre back, Champions League winning centre back. He's coaching me every single day in training.
Man management is especially when you're managing guys, or these guys are very talented footballers, right? You know what I mean? So what you're seeking to do is to get the best out of those players. It's almost less about tactical nuance and nous. It's about getting the best out of the players that you have at your availability. So if you can do that, you stand a very good chance of doing well. And when these managers start over-complicating things and coming up with all this other stuff and being too wordy at press conferences, I just think to myself, you're there to win games. Just do that and you'll be okay.
But like, where do Chelsea even go? Where do they go from here? Like, is it all right, find another new manager now? Because like Rossini signed a 5.5-year deal.
He's on borrowed time. It's pretty obvious.
Already?
Yeah.
Because I remember there was a point in his first couple of months where the only team he'd lost to was Arsenal. He'd lost to you like 3 times in a row, something like that.
I think he won 6 out of 7 in his first.
They were dead level with us under Carrick.
Yeah.
When we appointed Carrick, I think it's like pretty much that we were going like with Chelsea band for band. And they've just completely taken a nose. Is it find a new manager again? Is it go and sign 8 or 9 new players again?
Well, maybe he just needs to on a period of self-reflection, just think to himself, maybe I'm doing a bit too much talking. Maybe I'm making it about me a little bit too much. Maybe I need to just wind my neck in, win some games, humble yourself. You know what I'm saying? And just...
But how do you do that and still answer every question that everyone asks you purposefully to wind you up in a press conference 3 times a week? How do you show humbleness and tone it down a bit? How do you navigate those press conferences in a way that makes you do that?
Like I said, he's got to humble himself. Try not to be too clever all the time with all these little men and managing men, and it's just not word salad. It's nonsense, especially when you're not winning matches.
I do think the way to do that is like the quotes you've just read out, in the way that they asked him about team leaks and he just kind of went, we've dealt with it. Oh, Enzo said X, Y, and Z. He's just gone, I've talked to him and he said he's happy. Like he is, I feel like those answers are more the way you go with that. But he's set a precedent so early of just immediately being like the fun, as you said, soundbite guy who can bring in things that it will just follow him now. It will just continually follow him at Chelsea.
Old school Candy in the chat says, very pretentious. He would label himself as a doctor despite being a chiropractor.
That's what I'm saying. He's trying to be the professor, nutty professor, without acquiring the qualification of a professor.
Yeah, he's
just humble yourself, focus on winning games, and you know what I'm saying.
Do you think you are allowed to act like that, but only once you've proved yourself? Or is it kind of the style of management or the style of press conference that just in the Premier League you should never do it no matter what?
Well, if you are going to do it, you've got to be winning games and winning trophies. So when Mourinho did it, Mourinho came in with this big blaze of glory.
I'm the special
one. But to be fair to him, he lived up to that status, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
So, you know what I mean? People, whilst you're winning games and doing well, people will put up with all the other nonsense. If you're not winning games, or if you're losing them badly, like Chelsea have been doing recently, then all of a sudden that act becomes very thin and people see right through it.
Yeah, no.
And me personally, like I said, I'm disappointed for him because I wanted to see him do well. He's a young British black manager. I thought, you know what? Let's see how this guy goes. I'm glad that he's been given the opportunity. Let's see how he does. Unfortunately, at the moment, it's not going so well, and he's not helping himself.
Yeah, but one manager who has managed to finally answer some questions on the pitch is Arne Slot. Because what I found so interesting, so when the watch along yesterday with Doyle, the one thing Doyle kept saying, because obviously he, I think on Klopp TV earlier yesterday was the first time he was like, I'm not having it with Slot anymore, as he said, didn't he? But then obviously then followed was then Liverpool's best performance we've seen all season. But what he kept
One
saying...
swallow doesn't make a summer.
But what Doyle kept saying was he was like, this is the first time I've seen Arne Slot look like he really cares. Yeah, I know, but you were there, weren't you? And I think you'd be able to see it even
I
from...
didn't see that.
Did you?
I've seen the clip where he's kind of... And that was like...
screaming, he was shouting,
and I like
hands on heads.
I like
but it's something we've not seen in 18, 20 months.
Since Klopp left, obviously.
Yeah.
You just can't... I don't think any manager in the world can recreate or match the energy that Klopp gives you from the touchline. But I like that. Bit of something. Bit of passion, fight from the touchlines. You might get a yellow card for it, but we don't care about that. Just show us, a little bit of something back. We're fighting with our voices in the terraces to try and get this team over the line, and we definitely helped that team yesterday. When the teams came out, we sung You Never Walk Alone, and then I remember specifically Frimpong, Szoboszlai, Konate and Van Dijk all came to the Kop and was like, come on,
well, this is also coming a couple of days after Szoboszlai said, don't leave, please stay, we need you lot.
And then the funny thing, not funny for Noah Lang because he severed his thumb open, I think.
Yeah,
but
that
was horrible. They're investigating why that happened. But the funny thing is, he said that in the last game, don't leave on 80. We're 4-0 up on 80. I'm looking around and people are leaving because it's like, said, we've had to wait 10 minutes for this injury. There was another injury in the first half, so we've had 11 minutes of injury time. It's a Wednesday night. People do have to get home and they've got flights or back trains or getting home for work or whatever. So people were leaving, but for a good reason.
Leaving at 4-0 up after
different
the best
after
display
1-0
of the season,
or 1-0. But it was the best display. I said last night, Arne Slot got the tactics, information, instructions and team selections spot on. I gave him a 9 out of 10 yesterday for his own kind of doing. Would have been nicer to see Rio come on maybe when Gakpo did, just because he's a younger lad and he needs more minutes.
That's kind of atmosphere. You want a young player to come on in as well. Everyone's bouncing, everyone's happy. Goals. I mean,
when Rio
probably
comes
should have
onto
scored
the
about
pitch
8
these
yesterday.
days, I said 10. I actually added them all up. We should have won 10-0 yesterday. But when Rio comes onto the pitch, we all go, Rio, and it's like that excitement compared to when Gakpo comes on. You can't compare it. But yeah, really good performance. But even after that last night, I still expect us to struggle against Brighton on Saturday. I do.
Is that at Anfield or away from home?
12:30 away.
I see.
Greg's coach is
Brighton
leaving
are
at
poor.
5 a.m. I think.
Guess it was on the
Where do
telly
you
as well, by
stand
the
on
way.
Slot, then?
Yeah, Mario was there.
Where do you stand on Slot? Because I've got to say, the majority of the Liverpool fans that I know personally, they all want him out.
Yeah, I think last night, if he lost, I think you would have heard. You know, they say those who don't hear must feel. You know that that quote.
I've definitely heard that.
Yeah. When that gets branded around, that quote, after a big loss in the Champions League to Galatasaray, you go out. I think there would have been calls today to have him sacked. Listen, there's already loads of people back in November when we lost to United or when we lost to Wolves that said he should go. And even myself, I said it on Monday. If he loses this, I think I'd be saying now it is time to go. But he's done well to turn it around in terms of win this one last night convincingly, which we did. If you go to Brighton and win convincingly 2-0 or something, what a mood you've gone into the international break with. Because we don't play a Premier League game after Saturday till April the 11th. So that's 3 weeks. Got FA Cup, Champions League. So, man, like Greg said,
it's rough.
Make us dream. In the summer, there might be a change. I think they wouldn't sack him before the season ends anyway. They've got that respect from winning the league. So the higher-ups wouldn't do that. But from now, draw a line after this game last night in the sand. And we're 90 minutes from Wembley. We're in a quarter-final against a team that aren't as good as the team that knocked us out last year. No Donnarumma. Barcola's injured. We need Hakimi put his flag on the centre circle. Let's go and get revenge. Make us dream. We could win a Champions League and an FA Cup here. and then it would go down as one of the best seasons ever. So make us dream from here on in. 100% at it every game like last night, please.
What he's done, which so many managers never seem to do, and it always blows my mind that they don't do it, is just take the easy wins. Stuff like play Soboslai in midfield. Things like that.
Then
And
you
then
won't be
play
criticised
Salah
for
out
it.
wide, but actually play wide. That's what was such a stark difference in Liverpool yesterday, was the amount of times you played wide.
Yeah.
So
Overlaps.
you spent the last 8 months playing right down the middle, asking Salah to come inside, asking Gakpo to come inside. I was playing right next to Ekitike. No, play out wide. And Salah had his best display we've seen all season for him. Scored a lovely goal, good assist as well.
Shitty pen, but
Apart from that,
Yeah.
but in the grand scheme of things, Salah's pens are always. Doyle was.
I know.
He wasn't
Should
watching.
have just thrown the ball to Soboslai.
Not to
That
try
is
and
true.
deflate your obviously very good performance, but is there a little bit of Galatasaray or poor?
It's the most one-sided game
They're
I've
on the
seen at
floor.
Anfield ever. Karabag were better than them.
Wow.
I can think of another.
Did not do a thing. Sweat wasn't even a concept for Alisson last night. Mud on his shorts wasn't even a
They
concept.
didn't even have any fans here either, did they?
Well, they had like a little VIP friends and family, 100 people with stewards all around them. I saw loads of Gala lads in town yesterday when I was walking my dog. I was like, I thought their fans were banned. They're all lads.
The
like,
thing is, they're probably had the flights
letting
booked anyway.
fireworks off, huh?
Probably had the flights booked already before they got banned.
Yeah, well,
They're
yeah.
like, may
They
as well
probably
go.
watch it in the local pubs.
They probably went
But
to
yeah,
Everton
is
pub and
is there a little bit of okay? We played really well. Which
Yeah,
obviously
there
we
is
did,
that.
But
This is
then
Galatasaray.
Galatasaray, it's maybe not a great
They're
game
rubbish.
to judge slot because they weren't very good.
I suppose there is the hoodoo of him losing 2 against them this season, so you had to go and win that one today, last night. But you're right. I think what does a 4-0 should have been 10-0 result against Galatasaray translate as if you play that against PSG? We probably still might win the game still. Let's not forget last year we got hammered away and still won 1-0, and then we only lost on penalties at Anfield. So we were close to them then. They've not got Donnarumma now. They've got a massive league game against Lens, I think, in between our 2 legs. So
Yeah.
that's going to distract them. We're all in for the Champions League.
Yeah,
now.
because normally PSG they've
And
been
at Anfield,
Canter, but
man,
this time
yeah, they're the
Spurs.
champions of Europe, and they knocked us out just on penalties. And if you remember, the first pen, Alisson should have saved it as well, Vitinha. But I think we can do it. I think we can knock them out.
Well,
Across 2
as you
legs
say,
at Anfield.
it's one of those. It's why I love the Champions League, because it anything can happen.
Listen,
Like, well, I mean,
we
what
could do it.
Bodo 3-0 up against Sporting, and Sporting's score 5 the next leg. It does happen. And Spurs, they beat Atletico Madrid. I do think Spurs deserve big credit for their last 2 games.
So what about Abby then? The Abby Summers, are they going to apologise to Igor?
She was a disgrace on the show today. The mood she came on with.
What do you mean?
Unbelievable, Abby Summers. No,
Surely
she was
it's-
just.
I didn't see it.
But-
What did
but
she
we all
first
did
time she's been able
we all
to.
did the "Are you Tottenham in disguise?" and she didn't like it. So
No, but she's got to eat a little bit of crow because the recent performances have been good. The performance against-
but
no,
it's,
but she rightfully in her video last night praised that because you'd have to.
because
as you said, Laurie, when we were talking about slot there, like one game doesn't change anything. When
No,
you got
it's 2.
Tudor,
Two.
but it's a draw against a team that was, with all due respect to Liverpool, they were terrible. I mean, I'm sure you'll say the same thing against
Yeah.
Spurs. Liverpool would.
That's our
dire.
worst performance of the
Spurs should have
season.
won that game about like 3.
Well,
3 or,
we could have been 2 or 3
3-1.
up at half time as well.
yeah, but so could they.
We should have been out
Richarlison
of
probably
sight.
should have scored a couple at the same time as
no,
well.
but I do think
But,
Tudor deserves a little bit of credit, and I'll tell you why. Because previously, everybody was going in on this guy, said that he's terrible. There's no fight in the club.
because he came in and lost
Hang
4.
on. They said he's terrible. There's no fight. The players are not playing for him. That is clearly not true because the last couple of games, you've seen performances which suggest that the players are playing.
I do think it.
Am I right or wrong?
I think it's a bit of both. Well, you can't look at how they played against you.
Are they
how
playing
played in
for
the
him?
other games.
Are they playing for him?
I don't know if they're playing for
Of course
him.
they are. If they got that result against Liverpool, which let's face it, it's a good result, and they've beaten Atletico, they are playing for him.
But at the same time, you could argue that they're playing for themselves because they're
Well,
playing for their own career.
whatever.
Obviously, yes, something has possibly switched. That might have been the Liverpool game itself. They may have gone to Anfield going, oh, this is just going to be what it is. But and then as soon as they realised there's something here for us, Richarlison scored. Maybe that was the.
I don't think you're giving it. I don't think you're
because
giving
I think the biggest thing with Spurs under Tudor and towards the end of the Thomas Frank thing was that I didn't believe that they believed they could score a goal. They then scored 2 against Atletico Madrid. I know they conceded 5, still scored a couple goals, scored 3 against Atletico last night when that probably should have been about 4 or 5. Like Tell missed a couple great chances. Yeah. Porro had a chance that was saved brilliantly by Oblak. They created plenty of chances against Liverpool at Anfield, a Liverpool team who are getting better than where they were maybe 5 or 6 months ago when you guys had that poor run towards the back end of last year. And I think maybe it is Tudor that has managed to instill some sort of belief in them. But I feel the main difference with Spurs between 2 weeks ago and now is that they actually believe in themselves a bit more. And I don't know if that's come all from Tudor or if that's come from the fact that they created a couple of chances or being that Romero and Van de Ven back and not, for once not getting a red card and everything, or maybe it's a couple other players back like Bergvall and co coming back into the fold a little bit here. But I do, yes, Tudor probably does deserve some credit.
He does,
but also he
listen,
was
don't get me wrong,
rightfully
I'm not saying
criticised for getting smacked up every single week before
but
then.
when he does have a couple of good results, then people do need to give him credit for that, because like I said, Tottenham fan base are very vocal about the players not playing for him. Look, they don't like him, this, that and the other. I would say that based on what we've seen in the last 2 games, I don't think you can say that's necessarily true. Because if they didn't like him that much, I'm sure they would have just downed tools against Liverpool and Atletico, and that's not been the case. So
he's definitely got a tune out of them, hasn't he? More so than he did before. But unless he keeps them up, no one will remember this little mini spell of 2 games where they've actually fought a bit. If they go down, he'll have his face.
Well, obviously he'll need to do.
I think some
won't mean anything.
Do you think they'll go down?
The game on Sunday is everything.
My opinion's definitely changed in the last. I mean, I know Atleti's not a Prem game, but my opinion has probably maybe gone from 80% likely to go down to maybe.
I think they'll stay up, to be honest.
65. But if they beat
you
Forest,
you had them as high as 80.
Yeah. I think just in terms of like a downward spiral, confidence, morale. I mean, we gift it. If they stay up, we might be the reason. If you're giving them that point.
Probably to do some sort of little skit with you and Abby there in that case, then. I'm sure Jason will cook something up.
Yeah, he's probably thought about it. But yeah, I think if they beat Forest, go into the international break, compare a loss to Forest versus a win to Forest and the mood in the camp during the international break, where he's going to have a lot of players. I mean, a lot of players for Spurs will be going out on international duty, won't they? But a lot of them will be there working in the gym. And then they have to pull their socks up for that last go because they're not in any other things now. And
I mean, speaking of the Forest game, so old school candy. So Forest are playing the second leg of their game against Midtjylland to 5:45
in Norway,
kicking off in 5 minutes. Yeah, away from home, they're 1-0 down currently, but Vitor Pereira has apparently rested 8 of their first.
Can we get it up for the last 15 minutes of the show?
I'm sure we can for us. But it seems that Forest, they're 1-0 down in that game. And they're still resting, 6, 7, 8 of their first team players.
Clearly, that's not a priority for them.
Yeah,
like to stay in the Premier League.
Like the Europa League maybe would have been a priority for them after the season they had last season. Obviously, the season they've had this season is terrible. Spurs did play a lot of their starting players against Atletico Madrid, but then again, because they don't really have anyone else to play anyway. If they were to beat Forest, and I do think it's certainly 3-4 times more of a possibility that they can beat Forest.
I would think that they're favourites for that game, based on the fact that they're at home and momentum is with them.
I'm looking at Forest results. They've not won in 6.
They did draw against City, though.
They drew against City, and that's 1 of 2. So they drew against City and Fulham in the league, and they've lost 4.
That's what I'm saying. So I would give Tottenham a slight edge, given the fact that they're at home and they're riding a little mini wave of form. So you would have to say that on balance, you'd have to make them slight favourites.
I think, I do think they'll win that game now. I was sceptical. Well, I mean, obviously, you really got to be sceptical.
If they do win that game and he does keep them up, I want to see the reactions of Abby Summers, Jamie O'Hara, Fuad, people like that who have been absolutely
let's see what happens first.
With rage.
Let's see what happens first.
Yeah, but I also think rightfully so. They are in a relegation battle.
Listen, I'm not saying that they weren't right.
You would be livid.
Dylan, you are not understanding what I'm saying. I'm saying that if he does keep them up, then I would like to see what they say then, because they have been quite forthright in saying that they want him gone. So if he does come in and achieves what his remit was, let's be honest, to keep them up, then what?
I'm sure he's got a very hefty bonus in his contract, by the way, if he does keep them all. Because obviously it saves Tottenham.
It's doing your
it
job.
It really does. Yeah.
It's your job.
He's just doing his job. But moving on to Arsenal a little bit here, Sporting in the next round. That's obviously the news really that came out for Arsenal last night. Was obviously you got your win.
Victor Gyökeres derby.
It is the Victor Gyökeres derby. How are you feeling about that?
I'm feeling confident about that.
Because they did put 5 past Bodo.
They look very impressive. And I was thinking about you when they done that, actually, because you've been bigging up Bodo, all ends up. In fact, you had gone as far as to saying that Bodo were going to beat Arsenal. You weren't even thinking of Sporting. And I remember saying to you
I don't remember saying that much.
You did. You were saying, so you got Bodo in the next round, and I hope Bodo go on and win the cup and all. But anyway, I saw Sporting that day, and right from the off, they were on it. And they deserved that 5-0. They could have won by more. Yeah. They were totally in control of that game. They look good as well, I've got to admit. That will not be an easy game for Arsenal. Not at all.
No.
Yeah, I think the away leg will be a tough one.
Yeah.
At home, I think Arsenal were pretty much...
I mean, we've got a good history against Sporting. I mean, we beat them...
Not in the Europa League.
Was playing for, well, okay. But even when Victor was at his heights and playing for them, we still managed to beat them. So
yeah,
we're going to that game as favourites, but you can't overlook any team at this stage of the Champions League for sure. So
yeah, fair enough.
But you know, being honest, it is a decent draw for Arsenal.
Of course,
it could have been a lot harder.
Well, yeah,
for example,
your whole run's great.
Yeah,
but and then if you were to beat them, who would you rather play out of Barcelona and Atletico Madrid? Because that's the other quarter-final.
I think we've seen with both of those teams the good and bad in them. You know what I mean? The good and bad in them.
Because Julian Alvarez, well, he's someone who's very much on Arsenal's radar.
Yeah.
And I was in awe last night with his goal, and there was a skill move he did as well in the second half that was like I always known he's been good. We saw him at City; he was good. Over these two legs,
he's no secret.
My jaw's been on the floor for basically the entire match. I know they lost last night, but he was spectacular.
Was your jaw on the floor for Eze then? I hope so.
Well, that goal was brilliant.
It wasn't just a goal though; he was really good. But
Eze,
we got no need to fear anybody in this competition. So, in answer to your question, yeah, obviously Athletic and Barcelona will be stern tests, but I think we can beat either of those teams.
Do you think it's got to a point where you don't really, not that you don't care who you play, but like either one, you feel the same?
Yeah, it's respect, not fear. Because I do think that if we play well, we get it right in the day, we can beat not just them, anybody else in the tournament.
Yeah,
I really do.
Anybody.
I hear it. There's also been some news coming out about Thomas Tuchel's selection. So I know this is geared towards United, but apparently Thomas Tuchel is expected to include at least one Man United player in his latest England squad, with Harry Maguire the most likely to earn a recall. Kobbie Mainoo is also pushing for a call-up, and Luke Shaw has an outside chance of making the final squad before the World Cup. But who was I think he's been the left-back who's played the most consistently in the league this season. Because Lewis Hall, even both days against Barcelona, Lewis Hall was brilliant.
Yeah,
he's the one player who's come out of this Newcastle, obviously they're beating.
What about Alanga?
With
I thought
very,
he played
very
really well in the first half, anyway.
Yeah, but it's the first time he's. Well, to be fair, like all Alanga did was arrive at the back post twice.
Come on, man. Just give the man some credit.
He's had 45.
He took his goals well.
45 good minutes.
Isn't it mad
after his 52 million transfer?
Quite rightfully so, been lambasted for how bad he's been this season. And then he pops off and scores 2 goals at the Nou Camp for Newcastle, which, yes, they lost 7-2. But in 20 years, he'll be doing after dinner speeches and be like, hey, I still scored 2 at the Nou Camp, didn't I?
No, but in that first half, he was electric.
He was very, very good. And
he took his goals well.
I watched Alanga play brilliantly against Atletico Madrid away from home in the Champions League for us. Yeah. We drew that game 1-1. Alanga scored a really, really nice goal. I just find it really funny that it's the first time I watched Alanga
I think he ends up in Spain.
Alanga, he's quick. I can see him in like kind of the way that Nico Williams has thrived and Iñaki Williams has thrived out wide. But with England selections, are there any players that you feel maybe aren't being talked about enough about going to the World Cup squad, or any players that you feel like maybe shouldn't be going to the World Cup, but are currently touted for selection.
Max Dowman, an outside chance of going, surely.
As a wild card.
Yeah.
That's something that a couple of my friends in our
No, I'm being serious. I'm saying with a straight face.
That's happened over the years. You obviously had Walcott. And I remember when Rashford was 18 or 19, he was a wild card selection for Euro 2016. Do you think Dowman needs to do more, though, at Arsenal, i.e. like start a few games here and there and have some genuine minutes to actually have a... Because I understand it. Obviously, he was brilliant when he came on against Everton. Obviously, youngest Premier League scorer of all time now, I think. Yeah. So, and that is obviously, that says a lot.
If I'm Tuchel, I'm looking at that as a wild card pick.
It's just like something on the back burner.
Yeah, because every squad, you need something like that intangible, don't you? That you're bringing on somebody that will be unknown to a lot of countries out there.
Well, what about someone like Rio then in that case as well? Because Rio's obviously playing more minutes. He's, I'd say, a bit more developed in the way that he's played more Premier League and first.
What's that phrase? If you're good enough, you're old enough.
You're good enough, you're old enough.
And the same goes for Rio. I've been very impressed with him.
He's been great.
We've seen what he can do.
He won man of the match against Spurs, didn't he?
Yeah.
He was fantastic that game.
And let's be brutally honest, we will be coming up against teams in the World Cup that are not as good as Spurs.
Yes, probably.
In terms of their personnel.
So many teams in the World Cup at the moment.
Yeah,
anyway.
but it's different at the World Cup. They're fighting for their country.
There is, it is. But you know what I'm saying, though, right? He's coming up. He's playing against top class.
No, I agree.
Personnel.
I agree. I mean, because there's an argument to be made that a lot of England's wide players really aren't having their best seasons.
No.
I mean, Rodgers has completely fallen off a cliff with Aston Villa. I think Marcus Rashford is having a good season with Barcelona, but is in and out the team. Saka isn't. Or Saka will start for England as the right winger, but he's not hit the heights that he has in the previous seasons, be that injury or whatever. That is true. Cole Palmer, when he's played out wide for Chelsea or through the middle, he's been injured and he's not had great time either. There is an argument to be said that maybe Max Dowman could be selected or Rio be selected over one of those players, because you can't take four wingers who aren't really performing.
I'm pretty sure Thomas Tuchel's a very intelligent, clued up guy who would have done his due diligence. He will know all about Max Dowman. He would have been told.
Because Dowman will be in the England setup with St George's
he would
anyway.
Have spoken to the coaches. He will be well aware of him and what he can do. And I would imagine that he's definitely in the manager's thoughts. Why are you laughing?
Just one comment here says, I was ready for Dylan waffle, not a lorry waffle.
What's waffling about that, bro?
I don't know. It just made me laugh.
Every time he's played for Arsenal, he's impressed. Literally every single time.
I agree.
Rio and Max.
I would look at it for sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
would that be possibly putting a little too much on either one of them? Because that then becomes one of them being a option off the bench in every single game, instead of, because England have a stacked attack. I consider both of them over Foden, for example.
I honestly think both of them won't go.
I don't think it will happen. I think Tuchel will go. Tuchel's the kind of guy that will go for the options of what he knows.
Yeah.
But I think it, like, as much as it's very easy to just be like, oh, it's just an Arsenal fan, Liverpool fan, just like talking about their young players. It should be considered, because it's something that England have traditionally always done. Taken one teenage random Wayne Rooney.
You could take him for the experience.
I agree, but then equally Shamrock
26
018
players now as well, isn't it? So
it's big squad.
You can actually afford to take one.
I don't think two of them will go, but I think possibly Max Dowman could make it.
I understand the logic as to why. I mean, I'm sure Tuchel will sit there with his coaches. Like, he may bring Dowman in, like Southgate did with Mainu a couple of years ago. It was Mainu was initially called up for the under-21s, but he then played a couple sessions with the first team, did some training, and then Tuchel was like, this guy's quite good, may as well bring him the first. Obviously, Mainu then ended up having an incredible run with England, starting in the World Euros final and everything. But I can see the same kind of process happening.
I just hope that if he does go, we don't see the debacle that ensued when Walcott when he just.
Well, I mean, Shamrock 018 says no. Leave Max at home. Let him grow. This English team problem. We keep pushing to follow other teams' example, but never think of letting the boys develop.
No, it's
World
not.
Cup and Euro is different style of football.
Hear me out, my man. What I'm saying is you could bring him as a wild card. I'm not saying you're bringing him with a view to playing him in all the games. But there may be a couple of games there when you bring him on and he could make an impact. There's nothing wrong with it.
The thing that he has, and the same thing that Rio has, is that you don't really, like, another team won't prepare
Exactly. They won't know much about it.
Because they're so young, you don't go, right, if Max Dowman comes on, this is how we're going to stop him. They have no idea.
The more that these guys are getting minutes for their clubs, that, you know, international managers like an Ancelotti, he'll be thinking, who is this, you know, Dowman kid? If I come up against him, how do we deal with it? I think there will be. If we get to the end of April and he's in, you know, the form where he's about to become the youngest player to ever win the Prem, that sends your name into a new stratosphere. Plus, there's a World Cup year, just coincidence, timing of it all.
Yeah.
So there will be international managers knowing that he's coming up.
I don't think Max Dowman will get enough minutes between now and the end of the season to warrant it. But I do think it's something worth considering. But just like, because bringing up, I'm talking about England, I want to, like, for the end, for Rocket Ranked, I want to talk about some underrated, like 3 underrated players that you think should be in this England squad. Players who maybe don't play for the big 6 clubs or haven't been playing for England for a while. Because for me, one of them, as Neil Dizzer in the comments says, is Jared Bowen. I think Jared Bowen should be in that squad. I agree. No argument.
I agree.
Because he's someone who understands, he, like, having played for West Ham the last few seasons.
Curtis Jones?
He understands... I mean,
why are you laughing?
No,
I think England are so stacked in midfield.
No, but he's scored a wicked goal for England he's been good for England when he's played for them.
I think because like it's like
what's his best position?
England's right wing option.
Centre mid.
He's like number 8. Kind of like all action number 8 is kind of who he is. But then that's
box to box.
We're pretty
England
stacked from midfield, though.
England have some quality players in that exact same position.
I'm not sure if he makes a plane, to be honest.
If you think about, obviously, Wharton, Wharton, Anderson, Rice, Bellingham. I know Bellingham's often.
I'm sorry to have to
forward.
disabuse Alex of that notion, but if we're being honest, he's not had a stellar season. I don't think he's done enough to make a plane. He's a talented player.
Players, so I was just trying to think.
Just like outside.
He only gets there if there's injuries.
Because for me, I know I'm being biased here, but Bowen, I think Maguire should also be on that plane. A, just the form that he's in, and B, the type of person
World
and
Cup
player that he is.
As well.
Experience,
I
playing
could
well with England. Like, if you're calling up Jordan Henderson to be an old head, hopefully it's okay now. 6 weeks after.
But clearing up, is it?
I do. Come on, man, let it go. Are we doing this? Are we going to be doing this for the rest of 2026?
For a big man like that.
No, listen, Alex. You know what I'm saying, isn't it? Like, head injuries are a serious thing.
We had the same conversation literally
head injuries
this time
are a serious
last week.
thing. I mean, we saw how badly he was affected.
He's doing better. I'll
For
give
a big man like that to scream out.
I'll give him a message and I'll ask. It's just from you,
I'm inquiring about the welfare of the player. You saw the way he screamed, literally. It was.
But either way,
it was a worrying thing to see.
As long as he gets better in time, I think he should be in that play. Because I
think he should be on the play.
I think he should be, because also as well, I think he's been operating as England's second best centre back this calendar year. Because I think Mark Gay is obviously fantastic. Konza, I think, probably will start alongside Gay, but Konza hasn't been.
He's dropped off recently.
Konza hasn't been as good as he was the first half of the season, as have Aston Villa. But then I think Bowen, Maguire, and I'm again.
What about Branthwaite?
Branthwaite is a decent shout, actually. I haven't really thought about him recently because Everton have been mixed.
Yeah.
But David Moyes is doing a absolutely fantastic job with Everton at the moment. And Branthwaite, he's had some injury issues at the beginning of the season.
The thing about Branthwaite that he has over people like Maguire is that he has pace. Maguire, I wouldn't say he's slow, but you know what I'm saying.
Maguire on the turn is a nightmare.
Yeah, so that might be important.
At points. Yeah, no, Branthwaite's because I was going to say one of Shaw or Kobbie Mainoo, but that's me knowing them very well. Is that although Lewis Hall has been fantastic, he's been injury prone. Who else have we got for left back, England wise? Hall,
O'Reilly.
Lewis Skelly, O'Reilly. O'Reilly's been playing in midfield a lot.
Looked good.
Lewis Skelly hasn't really had any minutes. I do think Shaw is maybe on the plate again, another senior option. But I would understand it if he didn't, because I
think if Shaw gets here, it's only on experience. He's not impressed me that much.
Yeah, but that's why I'm saying I think maybe he would have a shout in it. Although I do think it would be out such a shout. O'Reilly's been great, even if he is playing in midfield. But obviously overall for City he's been good. Lewis Hall, obviously, as I said before, the Barcelona game, he was against Yamal over 2 legs.
Livramento.
Yeah, he could go.
Livramento's a right back though, isn't he?
And left back.
And left.
Are you playing both?
Yeah, he can do. But I think he'll go.
Livramento's a good shot. That could be a reason.
I think Lewis Hall should probably start though.
Lewis Hall should start, yes. especially if it's that Lewis Hall and he's fit and he's ready to play. That Lewis Hall that we saw against Barcelona, have seen the last month or so at Newcastle, 100%. Because at right back as well, you talk about Livramento. Reece James is injured again.
Yeah.
Like for weeks, like it says like several weeks.
He'll probably struggle to have that rhythm of games going into the World Cup.
It seems quite touching because Reece James is phenomenal.
If he doesn't play, who should the right back be if Reece?
I was saying probably Livramento.
Probably, yeah.
Well, because who else is there?
Trent.
But Trent's not been on great form. Because England was so stacked with right backs a few seasons ago.
Yeah.
Was it Aaron Wan-Bissaka never actually played for England? He's now Walker's retired. Trippier's 35.
Walker won't go.
Well, no, Walker's retired from international football anyway.
Yeah.
Although he said he'd come out of retirement if he got picked. So you haven't really retired then, have you?
That's true.
Jed Spence has been said an option in the comments.
Yeah.
I don't know about Spurs players.
Well, obviously they're going for a bit of a rough period, but he is a talented
say the
player,
least.
Jed Spence.
Jed Spence is good.
He's a very good player.
Yeah, but for me, I think my three, I would go.
First Muslim player to play for England.
Yeah, that's true as well. Yeah, big up. I would go Maguire number 1, Jared Bowen number 2, and I think Branthwaite's a good shout. Actually, I'm gonna go with Branthwaite because England's centre back depth isn't what it was.
No, he's a good player.
Yeah. Have you got 3 in particular that you think you'd want to go with? Anyone that I've not
Like
mentioned?
I said, I'm going to maintain what I said earlier. I think Max Diamond could be on that plane.
Mm-hmm.
If I was a manager, which obviously I'm not, I would definitely look at bringing him. I would definitely.
So Dalman is number 1 in your Rocket ranked.
I'm not saying he's number 1, but I'm saying I would
within the
definitely
3.
look at bringing him because I think a player of that talent, a guy that
What about,
seems
like,
to have
Ben
no
White, for
fear.
example?
He's the kind of guy that I think Ben has struggled a little bit this season with injuries and form. I'd love to see him go for personal reasons, but I'm not sure if he's done enough. I'm not sure if he's done enough, to be honest.
Have you got any other names? Or are you thinking like Maguire and Bowen as well?
Yeah, Bowen should go. Yeah, I like Bowen. He's a good player. I think Maguire should go. Yeah.
Yeah. I would be so surprised if Maguire didn't go, Because he seems such an obvious personality, player, and just person to have in the team. But Alex, you got 3 for us?
I'll go Bowen, Jones, and Calvert-Lewin.
Calvert-Lewin's another good. This England striker situation. Who goes alongside Kane? Is
So what about
interesting one.
you're disregarding my man?
Who?
Watkins.
His name escapes me. He's playing in Dubai at the moment, or where?
Tony.
Oh, Ivan Toney.
Oh, he's
top scorer over there, more than Ronaldo.
Yeah, he can
Ronaldo's
come on and do
going.
a job. I just don't think it's.
I don't think it's going to
Tuchel
happen
will
because he
be.
didn't come back to the Premier League. He
bring him
chose
just
not to come back to the Premier
For the
League.
pens.
I'll
When
bring him just for the penalties alone.
Spurs actively wanted him and he said no.
I saw a penalty that took Calvert-Lewin took the other day. By the way, it was terrible.
That's one of those penalties where it's about 5. It's a cup. It's like not that far away from being a fantastic penalty, but because it was
I
too
don't
far
know.
to the left.
There was some distance there. He
Maybe
missed it.
then.
Have you ever
But
seen Ivan Toney miss a penalty? I haven't.
I have not seen Ivan Toney play in about 3 years.
Yeah, true.
Including the betting ban and everything. But apart from that, pretty much wraps up the show. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Laurie, for coming on. It's been a pleasure. I know you've got a dash off, haven't you?
Dash, mate.
You can head off. But
Cheers,
everyone who's been watching on Twitter, on Facebook, on Samsung TV, on YouTube, thank you so much for watching. Remember, check out Rocket Mobile and Alex across the screen. There you go. Check out Rocket Mobile. £16 a month, unlimited calls, text, data, and 20 to use in the EU. I'll see you tomorrow for Live at 5 prediction show with Alice hopefully coming back on. See you soon. Cheers.
What are you doing? This is behind the scenes.
Don Robbie, how was your weekend?
Weekend was good. Looking at a bunch of losers.
Oh, what?
Coming from you. Just lost to Aston. I don't care. If you're in a bad mood, you're going to get it even worse. That's why I don't give it first. Because when people give it to me, they get blown up in football. So that's why I don't on my mouth first.
I'm not going in the gantry today.
Abby, would you like to put on the sausage outfit?
Gantry!
He's the most arrogant guy when he's winning. Give it all this. The top is just us. And look now, bro.
He talks a big game about football, so let's see if he can play the football yet.
They're supposed to be joggers, bro. These are Megans, bro.
Locked away, man. He should have had the shingles. Our team's got the shingles, bro. That's why they couldn't get me out.
Funny, let me go.
Oh, shit.
Good win, lad.
Abby, here's the hot dog, everyone.
Don't try and get at Arsenal fans. I'm saying that Arsenal are going to win the quadruple. That's what I'm saying.
I would only start thinking about it if we don't get a result against Wolves, well, we're here.
You're gonna walk in and you have to dodge the ball, my man.
Nobody else gets this here.
Soccer Saturdays are going to hit different in the EFL, bro. Because that's where Spurs are heading. To the English Football League.
I'll buy you lot a new one when you get someone to replace me on best of enemies.
Walk out with the stick. Walk out with the stick. I'm back. I'm back. Right.
The stick was always down.